Hi and welcome to KSIPrint. This is the place to be for the best tips and tricks in embroidery, vinyl, heat transfer, and screen printing. Let's get started.
Hi and welcome to KSI. Today we're going to learn how to hoop sleeves on shirts to prepare for embroidery. So I have a shirt here and I'm going to actually use what we call a HoopMaster machine. And with the HoopMaster, it is a little bit simpler than doing it manually. So let's show you how to do this. So first of all, I'm going to take the center seam of my shoulder of the shirt to use it to center up. What I will do is take the sleeve, and with my seam completely underneath here, I'm actually going to, well, first let me back up. I'm already missing something. For this particular shirt, I'm going to use pellons underneath. Now, sometimes I can use things without backing on them, but this particular one I definitely want backing. So I'm going to take my Weblon backing, and with a HoopMaster, you have these little magnetic slots that are going to hold this for you. So I'm going to load this in, pull this down, and it holds it in place for me, which will make it nice and easy so when I go to slide that sleeve on, it won't come up. So I take my sleeve and center it up, just simply slide it on like this. Now I use the edge of the hem to line up with the edge of the hoop, and this gives me a good line-up point. So that way I can make sure that all my sleeves are nice and even. So I simply take it, get it all nice and lined up straight, and then press down. Okay, now it's not pressing down, so there must be a problem there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the sleeve back off, and I'm going to figure out what I've done wrong. So let's take this off. Now, if you look at this inside hoop here, what's happening is the hoop itself has slipped. This particular machine is set up mostly for the larger hoop, but in order to be able to use the smaller hoops, if you put one in there like that, it would completely slip around and you'd never be able to get it to hoop good. So if you simply take this bigger hoop and then set this one inside, it lines it up nice and neat. Now the problem I had just then though is it had slipped up a little bit. So when I put it in there, I just need to make sure that it's all pushed forward and flush in order to get it to hoop better. So I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to open this up just a little bit because it might have been too tight as well. So that's how you set it up in there. Now let's go back and put our pellons back on here again. I'm going to set this back up. We're going to try it again. Okay, so I slide this on, and again I'm going to line it back up. The edge of my seam is going to come right along the edge of the hoop, so I know it's nice and neat. Now the other thing that I want to share with you as well is that I need to make sure that when I put this hoop on there that I'm putting it on in the right angle. So in my machine, the way this is going to go on the embroidery machine, I know that the SWF has to be facing me because it's going to slide in the machine like this. So when you put this on, you want to make sure that you don't put it on backwards because there's no way you're going to get it on the machine. So always make sure you check your machine, and whatever hooping system you have or whatever embroidery machine you have, make sure that you know you've got it set up at the right angle. So I'm going to put it on here again, bring it down, then I've hooped it. Now, when you bring them down to take them off of here, I hold these down just a little bit in order to keep it from snapping back on me. Bring it in. It's a nice and tight hoop. Set it by pulling the hoops up a little bit tighter, and that's all you have to do. So this is for the HoopMaster system. Now, if you don't have a hooping system, you can do this manually. So I'm going to show you how to do it manually as well. So if you look at this particular shirt, same concept on this shirt as far as using the center seam as your line-up point. I'm going to use my center seam as lineup. Same type pellons. I'm going to use my Weblon. Again, I have to be very careful to make sure that my SWF is facing in the right direction, the way I'm going to put it on the machine. Because let's say, for instance, if I put it on like this, right, the way I have it set up right now, if I have the SWF over here, if I'm going to put it on my machine, it won't work because it needs to be going on the machine this way. So I have to be very careful of that. So I have to actually, it looks like it's upside down based on the way I'm doing here, but it's not. So we're going to make this nice and neat. Make sure your hoop is opened up enough. And simply set the hoop inside the sleeve. Okay. Now once you know that you've got the hoop inside there, where you want it to go, if you can see this, I know I've got it centered the way I want it. And again, it's a little bit more difficult because without a machine. However, you can do this. So I'm making sure that I have it lined up now before I even put the Weblon inside there. Once I know that I have it lined up nice and neat, then I'm going to put the Weblon. So I feel like I've got it lined up good, and I'm going to use 2 pieces. So it helps if you fold them over just a little bit as you slide it in, and then that way they won't get all crimped up. Set it inside, pull this down. Again, the same concept. I'm going to use these as my lineup points and slide it up. And you'll be able to tell, again, the center point is going to be a little harder because it might slip on you like mine just did. So just slide it back over a little bit more, get it even, and once you're sure that you have it in the spot that you want, then simply just press down and again tighten it up. And as you can see, it is much easier to use the hooping system, but certainly if that's something that you haven't added to your embroidery shop yet, you can always get away without it. This is a good way to improvise. So same thing, you can get it done manually or with a hooping system. If you'd like to have more tips and tricks, come to KSIPrint.com, and we thank you again for watching.